Hey guys, welcome to the channel. A lot of you have wanted to understand how to build your own stock database. And the reasons could be multitude. You might want to build your own database to perform analysis, you might want to do back testing, you might want to do forward testing, you might just be collecting a lot of historical data for deeper analysis, looking for patterns and whatnot. You might want to use it for data science and machine learning, and some of you might even want to use it to augment it for some sort of an automated trading. Now I'm not sure how the trading stuff could look like, but this video, or rather the whole series, and this is likely going to be a 2 to 4 part series. I'm not sure how much of content I need to create to be able to solve the problem completely, but we'll talk about how to build your own stock database. And the idea is that you have something robust, not like sitting in form of files. So let's get started. So that's the intent for this video. Okay, so I'm going to use a very simple tool that I use for drawing diagrams. And the first part of the problem is source, right? What can be the source of data? And maybe I should just keep zooming in. So the first part of the problem is what could be the source of the data. And so the simplest source is Yahoo Finance. If you know your needs are not tick based data, and it could also be like option data ka provider etc. हो सकता है. So option data provider, you could be connecting to broker data feeds, you could be connecting to historical data feeds, you could have Excel files from other people, and you could be doing downloads from NSC website and all of that. So tons of different reason, I would say. The intent here is that all of these are true and all of these can be thought as sources. So one source would be option data, the other could be Yahoo Finance, then you have broker data feed, then you have historical data feed, then you have Excel files, and all of these are valid sources of data. What can be the challenges with this data? Let's say challenges. One could be format, the current could be the method, API, you have WebSockets, etc. So this is one challenge or requirement that we need to fulfill, कि किस तरह से ये data लेके आए और how do we make the connection and establish that. So these are the two things that we have now talked about. What else do we need to do? Time frequency, good enough. So time frequency would imply that what speed do we need data. Usually when we think of data, it's very easy to when we use data, right, it's very easy to say ki chalo get into Yahoo Finance and put a parameter as 5M 1M, give a date and get the filter. But here that's not going to happen. What's likely to happen here is you have a source and you have some program, and this is, let's say, database. So this is how the flow will look, and while the flow looks and sounds simple, it's really not. इसमें काफ़ी setting up का option है which we need to do, and we'll talk about most of them. So the challenges is time frequency, as to what frequency of data do we need, and approaches can be different, right? Either we say that end of the day मेरे को data ला के दो, like give me all the data at a granularity at end of the day, or somebody will say no, I want data every minute. I only am accepting 5-minute latency in my system overall, or 15-minute latency in the worst case scenario. So then the system has to run accordingly. So the requirements for these programs are what we are trying to talk about. So one is these challenges, and time frequency can be thought of for analysis, for let's say get it in batch, and we could say real time as well. And real time could come matlab hua ki like as in when the data comes, maybe at a minute level. If you are getting faster than that, then the challenges could very well change. What else? What other challenges could we have? Storage. The most simplest of approaches I have seen people do is So the most simplest of approaches I've seen people do is they want to store in the form of Excel files. Now this is also a challenging situation, because when you get into analysis, right, when you want to analyze Excel files, it's problem. Why is it a problem? Let's say that you have 5-minute data. How many data points would you have? And you're collecting data every 5 minutes, one file every 5 minutes. So for 1 hour you will have how many files? 12 files. For the whole trading day you will have how many files? 12 into, let's say 9 से 3 बजे का जोड़ लेते 6 hours. So 12 into 6, 12 6 are 72 files. For a month you will have 72 into 22 is equals to, let's say 72 and 710, roughly 1500 files. For an year you will have files in thousands of files. So this is actually not practical. This is really not practical to work with this kind of a data, because how will you actually do analysis? If you end up reading it into some kind of a program or database, it will not be a good way to work with the data and kind of move forward. So this is another set of challenge that you need to think of. And the right form of storage would be database here. So Excel files are a no, Excel CSV are no, and database is a good call. Now what can database give you? You can have tables, matlab, let's just say columns for the lack of a better word, stock wise. Okay, you can have ability to write SQL queries, and I know most people might not know what an SQL query is, but it's like a simple way to work with data, filter and all. If you know Python, you can probably get it in like 1 hour or 2 hours, and that will give you the ability to query data. But most importantly, your data is saved for perpetual users. So these are some of the challenges that we have talked. What other things we need to do, like considerations क्या क्या हैं हमारे? What do we need for this? We need some tech infra. चलो ये पूरा ही tech infra है, तो इसको लिखे क्या? So we need some kind of a server, preferably a Linux server. Very small size will do. You don't need to spend a lot of money on it. Anything in the range of 300-400 rupees a month will be good enough, and you can work with some developer to kind of automate this. What do you need? You need some sort of a scheduling system. Scheduling system का क्या मतलब हुआ? That you need something to run your code repeatedly. Run your code in a repetitive way. So run your code in a repetitive way का मतलब, let's say मैंने अपना सारा कोड लिख दिया कि connect to this broker, get this data, get it in 5 minutes, but it needs to run in a repeated fashion, right? So that's there. And finally it will you require a database. This is also hosted on a server, but this will have a slight cost to it. Probably in the next video what I'll do is I'll talk about IT infrastructure that could be required, because I can see this video is already about 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes, and then you probably want to have some sort of a integration to your laptop, so you can download this and all, do all of this. And this is essentially the whole gamut. And if you see quickly in 10 minutes we have talked about that it's not just this part of the problem. Understanding this goes as a requirement 1 to the program. Understanding all of these challenges goes as a requirement 2 of the problem. And then working with all of this is kind of also not directly related to program, but kind of runs on an infrastructure. So maybe we'll just say infra, and we'll just connect an arrow here, and let's just call the server and DB. So this is the complete picture, which kind of will end up running in some way. So source, program, server, अच्छा database हमने यहाँ पे लिख दिया. चलो इसको change कर देते हैं your laptop to for analysis. ठीक है. अब analysis के लिए you can connect to databases from Python and all. I'll talk about some stack really right now. I know the video is increasing, but अरे कहाँ गया? Yeah, so for servers you can use anything like DigitalOcean, yeah, some cloud provider, which I'll talk about in the next video. Scheduling system can be very simple as cron. You can connect to it and you can run it variety of different ways. You can, get data every 5 minutes. It can run as fast as 1 minute. If you need data faster than this, then you'll need to run slightly more complexity, and we'll talk about handling those complexity in the next video. uh, Databases, you can have Postgres databases as low as $5 a month, which should be more than enough for your requirements. And integration to your laptop will be, once you have a database, right, all cloud providers will give you a way to connect. So as long as you know a little bit of Python and things, you'll be able to work your way around with it. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this video. If you've liked the conversation, please give a thumbs up, a big shout out. I'm running through a course which is going to talk about how to use Python into financial programming. So if you want to build something of like this, that course could be a precursor to this. And yeah, if you like it, fill the form in the description. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.